So for new viewers, it's A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, the order of the alphabet. And then I'm able to guide you through the Great Awakening with the number decodes and downloads, and connect the dots with the numbers we're able to see around corners. I did know about the sinkholes. There'll be many, but I did do a decode last month on that, and then 10 days later, a massive sinkhole appeared. Who's in the chat? Who's in the chat? And the swan, the black swan, it wasn't as eventful as maybe first anticipating, but we're on the timeline. And then swan, you had the next swan, you had the AWS with the Amazon servers. That's a mirror of swan with N on the end. So next, AWS, that was the next one. Let's see who's in. Who's in? Good to see you all. Hey Nadine. Karen from Indiana. XRP, we're going to talk about that. Yeah, we are. We're going to talk about the XRP for sure. Appomattox, Virginia. Not heard of that before. That's a cool name. We're in Okie. We're in Oklahoma. There we go. So we're 277 days. Hit the like and hype button if you would, folks. That would be really great. That would be helpful. Let's get full turbines to speed. We've got 88 in the chat. 88 is Trump. 106 now. Red pilling. That's what we do on the show. 106 is prophecy as well. That's what we do on the show. Okay, Larry, here we go. I'll tell you what we want to hear. So, 277 in numbers is quantum financial system. And we're 277 days into President Trump's presidency. That's 297 days, 297th day of the year, 277 days from January 20th. And quantum is 107 in numbers. And someone just asked about XRP. So if you do quantum, 107, Trump's 107, military 107, warp speed 107, Aquarius 107, currency 107, Superman 107, eternal life 107. If you do XRP 58 plus XLM, that's 107. And they're both quantum currencies, part of the quantum system. So Trump's currency, Trump's 107, quantum 107, currency 107, XRP plus XLM 107. There you go. Trump's quantum, currency, XRP, XLM. Now some of you may have it and some of you might not, but there's a wallet called Tangem. There's a link below actually. I've got a link for you, can get a discount on it. But Tangem is an easy way for you to store your cryptocurrency, and in some ways I think you can either buy or exchange on there, but it's a cold wallet, meaning it's a way for you to store it and just kind of let it be. But it's an easy way. It's an easy way to, there you go, you got your silver. It's an easy way for you to get your crypto to store it securely. So Tangem, I think, has got 8 million users around the world, something like that. So it's tried and tested, and it's a great little product. So you can click the link below, you get a discount on it. But we got 159 in the chat. A week to remember. The Chinese elders, 159. Bonjour from France, s'il vous plaît, merci. Bonjour, ça va? Bonsoir. There you go. One of you's got Tangem already. There you go. See? Loads of people love Tangem. So there's a link below. You can click it and you'll get a discount. So the crypto, or the quantum financial system, when will that be? It's all part of the storm. So I've been thinking about this on and off over the years, as you ladies and gents have as well. And the question is, how will they do it? I think all things will be ready to go all at once. The black swan, the storm. Some people say the black swan is just the financial storm. I think it will be more than that. The actual black swan event, it will be a physical as well, in terms of the sinkholes, the dark to light revealing of the domes, and other things we probably haven't even seen yet. But in terms of the finances, so I'm going to put this to you and let you think about what your thoughts are about this. Would we see some previews of the quantum financial system coming in, or would we see a change, an RV, before the storm, before the black swan? What do you think on that possibility? So the thinking I've got behind that, I'm not saying it is, but I'm putting the question out there to you. Erica, well, there you go. That's quite funny, Christine. Yeah, I know the feeling. So, if the system changes financially, and then shortly after that, the storm comes in, that might be a way for people to be reassured that even though we've had the storm, financially things are better, or we need at least know the new system's up and running. That might be a possibility, because I see with the storm, if you've got tunnels and domes all over the world, they're going to be revealed and they're going to need to be changed. And that's going to require finances as well. And so it could be that President Trump and the team have planned it so that when all this kicks off with the storm, with the black swan, that maybe the rails for the financial system are already public, are in place, and people know about it. Because then it's like, okay, I mean, what would be worse, to not have a new system that allows you resources and hey Kelly, what would be better, to have finances in place and then have the black swan, the storm, and then to do the build up, the cleanup job after, and rebuilding? They could all happen together, but it might be that we get notification that the system financially is in place, so when the events happen, then we're better prepared after. Does that make sense? Some key dates to look for. I think I'll do over the next few days bigger stuff on this, but November 22nd, Paul's in the chat, there you go, 208, quantum system, Paul Dennis Bushnell, hey buddy. I think he's confirming what I've said. There you go. So, November 22nd is JFK, the assassination of JFK. That will be 62 years this November. November 22nd also is a Q post. So Q post 205. 205 is Madison Square Garden. It's the opening scene of Highlander. Ivanka Trump has mentioned that her grandmother is from the Highlands, and she did a tweet years ago saying she's got a grandmother and she's a Highlander. Highlander is 86, which is celestial. It's pyramid. It's Las Vegas. There's also tunnel. There's also black swan. So the beautiful Ivanka has been coding all the way through it, and there's no coincidence that she was the one that activated me back in 2015, 5 days before President Trump came down the escalator. 205 is also my grandmother's full name, Eileen Mary Adelaide Wood, and she's a big part of the numbers for me. So the Q post 205, and I'm going to probably put it up on Twitter, but I encourage you to have a look. The Q post 205 states, death to the triumvirate. Now the question is, who and what is the triumvirate? And then there's a photograph of Ivanka. It doesn't mention her name, so if you type in Ivanka Trump, you might not find it because it depends if there's her name's tagged on the photo. It might be. But if you look up 205, you'll find it. And it says death to the triumvirate. Now the death to the triumvirate comes to 262 in numbers. Someone asked about 262 earlier in a chat. And then if you add Ivanka, 58. 58 is XRP. So Ivanka, 58, XRP, 58, star 58. And also Nessara, 58. So if you do death to the triumvirate, 262, plus Ivanka 58 XRP, it comes to 320. 320 comes to Liberty Enlightening the World, which comes to John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr. We've got 2:30 in the chat. That's the length of the Tenet movie, 2 hours 30. And in Tenet, which I was just about to say, you've got Sator, Rotas, Opera, and Arepo, plus Tenet comes to 320. So that's a white hat code. And but it's all linked to November 22nd. The other thing about November 22nd, publicly in normie world, in crypto world, is that the ISO 2000, this 222, 2022, they're saying that that's a critical date for basically the system to effectively go live. They're saying that's the transition. That's what they're saying. So, and there's also the F1 second day of the races in Las Vegas on that day, on a Saturday night. And Emmett Brown says, Back to the Future. Next Saturday night, we're going back to the future. So that's a key marker. I think I'm going to be looking to that date for the next few weeks leading up to it. I think that's a key marker for everyone. Because of the Q post, because it's Ivanka. Anyone that knows my story knows it all began with her. It's also got my grandmother's name number on the Q post, 205. The actual crypto day with the ISO 222, 2022, is happening on November 22, which is JFK, the assassination day. And that'll be 62 years later. And 62 comes to the word shot, it comes to Queen. 62 also comes to dollar, 62. And Ivanka did that famous photograph of pretending to take but then you zoomed in and saw a Q code and it said something else. But the shot heard around the world. There's been many shots heard around the world. Charlie Kirk's was one of them. Charlie Kirk, I've said it before, that will be 73 days from the point of Charlie Kirk to November 22nd. 73 comes to Paradise. That F1 race is going to take place in Paradise on the Strip in Las Vegas. I was watching the film Oblivion tonight by the film director Joseph Kosinski, who did the F1 movie. And they talk about Paradise in that film. I've seen Oblivion before, but I watched it properly today from my eyes with the numbers. They talked about Paradise. They showed the number 185, which is Donald John Trump. They showed the number 172. 172 is hyperinflation. They also mentioned 17, which is obviously Q. They did 166, which is the simulation. They also talk about the Odyssey. Christopher Nolan's film, the next one is the Odyssey, Space Odyssey, the reversal of 9/11 at some point down the timeline, which will take place, which takes us back to October 19th, because if you go back a temporal pincer, which is 272, or if you go a temporal pincer, 273, temporal pincer is 272, takes you back to the inauguration January 20th or January 19th, which is 119. And then that takes you back, which Christopher Nolan mentions in the film, in Interstellar 153, Austin, Texas 153. Who turned up at that Grand Prix in Austin, Texas, at Circuit of the Americas, Matthew McConaughey, who plays Joseph Cooper. Joseph Cooper's 145, which is red team, blue team, and that's how this all been done. So from January 19th, depending if you include September 11th in 2001, the actual day, or you do it the day after, which will be September 12th, which is JFK's wedding anniversary to Jackie. It says in the film, Interstellar, it says the time dilation was 23 years, 4 months, and 8 days. From September 11th, 2001, Space Odyssey 2001, Odyssey's mentioned in Oblivion, White Hat director Joseph Kosinski, Christopher Nolan, White Hat director doing Interstellar. His next film is The Odyssey. You go from 2001, September 11th, springboard, 23 years, 4 months, 8 days, and you land on Inauguration Day, January 20th, 120. 120 is the truth. 120 is the number of the vehicle that Sonny Hayes, in the opening scene of F1, rides around in Daytona before he goes to F1. It's all there, folks. It's all there. $125, dark to light, time travel. The numbers, 125. So, yeah. Did anyone see the video I did with John White today? He's got his new product, Hiwi. So, health wearable. So the link below is for that. And there's also a great offer as well right now for the scaler. So because of the holidays, I guess you've got Black Friday and Halloween, they're doing $50 off right now. I don't know how long that will last. It might just be this weekend. It might go to Halloween, I'm not sure. Click the link below and it'll take you through and it automatically give you $50 off. So I know some people have got those over the last few days, so take advantage of that offer. So I'm not sure how long it will be there, but I noticed it today. So, but anyway, folks, that's what we're doing. Kubrick said, okay, another thing on the timeline. I've met a lot of people in the timeline and it makes sense now why I've met them. But Jan Harlan was the producer of many of Kubrick's films, and he was married to Christiana, who was the sister of Kubrick, and they lived up in sort of Hemel Hempstead way, around that way, St Albans. I went to Jan Harlan's home and I gave him a film script I'd written before COVID, and he made me a sandwich, we had lunch, so I got a connection with Kubrick. And Christopher Nolan at the time was doing a revamped, a restored version of Space Odyssey 2001. But lo and behold, Tom Numbers has had lunch at Kubrick's sister's house. So Kubrick would have been there many times. I've got a little theory on this. In the opening scenes of Interstellar, where all the old people are talking about the corn, well, the blight that's made the world dusty, you see all these TV screens talking. One of them is Murph, played by Ellen Bernstein when she's a lot older. And then there's an old chap wearing glasses and a patch. He looks to me like a slimmed down version of Kubrick. I would not put it past Kubrick or Nolan to put Kubrick in plain sight in Interstellar. I think there's a good case for that. Have a look at the film, have a look at the opening credits. Not the opening credits, the first 5 minutes of the film, and you see what I mean. I don't know for sure, but the last few times I've seen the film, I'm like, that could be Kubrick. That could be Kubrick. And Tom Cruise, whether there's many versions of Tom Cruise, probably, but the one that they're using now is in these movies by the White Hat directors. He's been in Oblivion, made by Joseph Kosinski. He was in Top Gun Maverick, made by Joseph Kosinski. And he was also the only person publicly, on any public forum, like a media outlet, to feature the black mark on Buckingham Palace during COVID. I went down there, you look at my early videos, I've done videos of it. But no one featured it in the news. No one. I would even go there and point it out to tourists. So say, look at that, and they'll be like, It was people oblivious to it. But Tom Cruise, on his Twitter feed, he doesn't tweet very much, but he's got millions of followers on Twitter because it's Tom Cruise. He drove past, in a cab in England, past Buckingham Palace, and you see the black mark on the palace on Tom Cruise's Twitter feed. Then he gets to Tenet and watches Tenet in Waterloo. So he watches the Christopher Nolan film, which I use in all my decodes. And then he's wearing a mask getting out of the taxi. He says, what happened here? Why am I not wearing a mask? So there's double, triple comms everywhere, folks. But these are the things that have been there throughout the last 5 years. So I'm emphasizing it and bringing it back up for you to have a look at and pay attention to. So we're not long now from November 22nd. That feels to me like the next leap. We've also got October 20, November 22nd, JFK, crypto, the Q post with Ivanka, ISO 2022, 2022. We've also got October 26th coming up, which is the first date of time travel in Back to the Future. So whether we see something on that day, I don't know, but maybe. And I believe there's one of the F1 races going on. I think it's the one in Mexico this week. I think it's Mexico, then it's Brazil, and then it's Vegas. And then if we get past that, it's Qatar and then Abu Dhabi. And they do say in the film, in F1, they said, maybe they'll pull the plug now. And he says, no, you've got till the end of the season. And that takes you into early December. And before that race, there's demonstration of the RV. So Sonny Hayes, 145, red team, blue team, 145. 322 in the chat, that's the military industrial complex. So we're on, see, we're talking truths here. There's a bet with the journalist and the Brad Pitt character. The Brad Pitt character bets 10,000 to 10 to the journalist. And then Sonny loses the bet during the season because of an accident while racing, but he makes good on his bet. He pays the journalist up before the last race. And the journalist is like, bloody hell, he can't believe it, because it's basically put £10 down and he got 10,000 back, so 1,000 times over. So that's a reference to the RV, maybe the first RV. 1,000 to 1 is not to be sniffed at, is it? Then he has the race. Then they're inching closer and closer to the finish line, but then because their tires are wearing out, they can't go any faster. And they're kind of stuck. They're like, oh, we're so close, but so far, we can't get any further. And then a miracle happens, a red flag. Red flag is 53, which is sync. It's also COVID. So there might be something about COVID that comes out then. But then they quickly say, miracle, it's a miracle. And it means that they can change their tires, they can go in and fix the car, and then they eventually, not spoiler alert, but they win the race. And then at the end of the race, they still reference the black swan, because Brad Pitt's character, he's dressed like a swan. He's got like this kind of snowy white fleece shirt, and he refers to Joshua Hayes, the young black driver, and he says, I'll see you around, Swan. So the swan may still not have happened even after the RV. That's one way to look at it. That's one way to look at it. So whatever's coming, folks, is coming. And we are on track, because I said about October 19th, I felt that Black Swan was going to be there, that it would be at the Circuit of the Americas 206, The Dark Knight Rises 206. That was on TV last night. But we also know now that Paradise, Las Vegas, Nevada comes to 206. Something's coming. Las Vegas is 86, Black Swan. So whether we get a Black Swan there, whether we get one after November 22nd with the crypto, we'll see. But we're accelerating towards the finish line, which is the start for everyone, for us, for all of us. There you go. Yeah. Anyway, folks, I'm going to see you tomorrow. So much love, God bless, and thank you for hitting the like button and the hype button. All right, you take care. Cheerio. Bye.